We're about to go on our longest passage ever, and I'm really, really not ready at all. 800 miles of open ocean separate us from our next destination, the Cape Verde Islands. 6 full days at sea, just the 2 of us, our tiny floating home, and our 2 dogs, surrounded by nothing but deep blue and shifting horizons. No land, no shortcuts, just wind, waves, and whatever the Atlantic has in store for us.
Yeah, we're flying to Cabo Verde. Literally.
Don't want to miss what's waiting on the other side? Make sure to subscribe to my channel. So I think Flo's longest passage has been the one where we sailed down from Rabat to the Canaries, which was roughly 400 miles. And my longest passage was when I sailed solo from the Cayman Islands to Panama. That was 600 and a bit. Now we're heading out on a passage that is roughly 800 nautical miles. We're going to sail from the Canaries here, Tenerife, to most likely Sal, one of the islands of Cape Verde. The last month has just been completely insane. I've been running around like a mad person. Well, actually this last month I have been traveling. I did like a very short surprise visit to KARL, my sailboat that is in Mexico, which was each way 36 to 38 hours of traveling, and I was there for like a week. So that was the beginning of the month. Then I came back and I was at my parents' house for a couple of days. And I went back to Lübeck to my canal boat that I had to get ready for leaving it for half a year to come here. And I fell really sick. I had like a really bad flu that kept me in bed for a week. And then I had a lot less time than planned to get the boat ready. And then once I had the boat ready, I flew here to Tenerife with Boga to go on passage with Flo, and there was a week between arriving here and us leaving. And just for the fun of it, I also had to squeeze in a massive funding proposal that I had to get ready for In Mocean, because we need to get some funding for the next 2 years for our recycling activities. So it was like a major project that had to be finished before leaving, and I just got it ready yesterday. In between provisioning, like walking around, getting everything ready, and yeah, the crazy stuff. Flo is just now getting in the stern anchor, and I'm making some sandwiches so we have something to eat before we cast off. I didn't have time to do any passage food. Usually I like to prepare at least some kind of stew. I was going to do like a chili sin carne, just like a little bean stew and some rice, but I didn't have any time to do that. So at least we're gonna have some sandwiches now so we don't go with an empty stomach. And it just feels so surreal that we're going on passage for a week today, basically in an hour or 2. Usually pre-departure for me is like a week of crazy running around, getting the boat ready, and that sort of like gets me into the mood of going on passage. And now we're just gonna pick up anchor and go. A friend of ours has given Flo a head sail that he adjusted for making a jib for the boat, so we can have like the trade wind setting and with the foresails when we're on passage. And he also added a little baby stay, like a second forestay where we can hang it on. And he made maybe 30 soft shackles. How many did you do?
Enough. Roughly 30.
I think roughly 30 soft shackles. So we're gonna put on the sail now and then leash it. So since we're gonna have a lot of time winds above 20, so instead of having the rolled up genoa, we can then use a smaller sail and it'll have a better standing, better belly. It is honking out there. You can see the whitecaps. We're really sheltered here in this anchorage. There's another hill next bay, Montaña Maria, I think is the one. And we can always see the whitecaps just outside of this little nook. But in this place, it's been super sheltered. It's actually a really good anchorage. You wouldn't think so if you saw it on the map or if you just passed by. Anxiety level?
It's existent. Yeah, I mean everything. We have been sailing a bit on this boat, and I did a couple of solo sails over the last couple of months, and I did a couple of add-ons this summer, so everything should technically be fine. The wind is really nice. It's in our favor. We have enough wind. It's not a storm, it's nothing critical, but it's just like a hell lot of wind, and it's a super long distance and nothing in between. And so, yeah, I'm super nervous. And it's already the white caps out there. And yeah, I mean, we both know theoretically that it is always funneling in between the islands. And especially this trip is the most windy one. So what we are looking at is a super windy patch. Nevertheless, looking at this and thinking, oh, it could be like this for the next week, day in, day out, is a bit humbling.
Will be like that. You want to go to Cabo Verde? That's the street dogs. You want to get to know all the street dogs? Yeah? The wild street dogs? Your family. It's your extended family. Huh? Well, safe passage.
Yeah, to you as well.
Alrighty, and we're off, and it's apparently 12 knots from the side. It feels like 18, really. Whoa! Okay, that's 20, 22, 23, 24, and that's how it's gonna be for the rest of the ride. Whoa, 27. This is starting off pretty wild. We have 30 knots of wind. A bit, yeah. Well, 27, but like pretty much from the back end, we're doing 5 knots. So. Well, this is a sporty beginning, I'd say.
Yeah.
We have 25 to 30 knots. And the wave, I thought we were gonna have the wave more from the stern, but right now we have it, if I would be on course, we'd have it quite from the side, and we've done some wild moves already. So I'm doing a little bit of a wave comfort steering at times, especially when the big ones come. I don't think I ever cast it off in weather like this because it's kind of nuts, but there's the first time for everything, right? Yay! I'm not sure I can do this for a week. I mean, I'm sure I can, but the question is if they, I'm not sure it's going to be enjoyable.
So if it's like this, it won't take us a week.
Yeah, we'd have to put out more sail if we wanted to.
There's a arrival time between 4 and 5 days.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yes.
wow. Okay, well, that's one advantage, I guess. And you?
Well, I'm fighting my anxiety level because that is really uncomfortable. And I mean, if it is like this, it is uncomfortable. If it changes, if it's dropping, then it will be smooth.
Yeah, to me, right now, this is okay, but thinking that this is going downwind or beam reach, so if anything happens, we have to turn around and go the other way, that's gonna be really uncomfortable. Like, really, really uncomfortable. Why? Oh, shucks. Jango has gone all the way in the bow, and he was like hiding underneath the front berth. Once I get the feeling of things being more or less in control, and the boat handling things and myself handling things, then it's an interesting thing that somehow things become less scary. I guess it's the repetition of it. Like seeing that you can take 5 waves and the boat is shaking but it's not capsizing gives me the feeling that things are gonna be okay, I guess. The wind hasn't really calmed down, but it already feels a lot calmer within myself. And I think it's also a lot about the perceived danger versus the real danger. Movement, noise. Once you get used to it, or once the brain has sort of put everything into place, like say like, oh, this movement is gonna be like this noise is gonna be like this. It somehow makes it more acceptable to the brain. I'm sure there's some psychology background to this. We're now 1% into our passage. And I'm already sad that I wasn't able to prepare any food, because this is going to be a challenge. I did, however, cook, I think 8 eggs or something, so we have 8 hard-boiled eggs. I just had one as a little energy booster, and like 4 cookies or something, because Flo's already head down. Are you okay?
No.
No? No. I think he's fine. It's rolly. It's quite rolly.
Wow! Alter Schwede.
The wind has eased up a little bit. We put a little bit more of Genoa out, and we're doing 6.5 or something at times, mostly. But we're a little further offshore now. So I think the further we get away from the islands, the less confused the sea is going to be. And I hope that we will eventually put some form of auto steering on. This is fun. It's a good workout, but I don't think I'm going to do this for another 99% of our journey. I just sent out our tracking link from Predict Wind to patrons. So we're going to try and upload some photos along the way. We're going to be trying to be online twice, like once in the morning, once in the evening, to get fresh weather data and to shoot out some updates to friends and family and patrons and channel members on YouTube. So if you haven't joined the support crew yet, make sure you do, so you can follow updates on upcoming passages. After 4 hours of hand steering, Flo has finally put up the wind vane. Woo! We weren't quite sure how it was gonna deal with the waves. And I'm telling you, it's dealing with the waves a lot better than I was. It's really on course. Like pretty spot on. Amazing. We went through probably 3 sets like this. Wow. And it's just coming right back onto course. Even through the wave. Well, through the wave it does go up. It does get veered off a little bit towards the wind and then falls right back.
pretty impressive wind pilot. The only downside, now I don't have anything to hold on to anymore. And you'd notice the roll a lot more if you don't have the wheel to hold on to. But I'm pretty tired, so I'm glad that we've got it finally up. We had a little play, well, Flo had a little play with the sails. He thought that it wasn't tiring enough yet, what we're going through to start with. So he went in, he hoisted the small jib that he made, and then some things got tangled up, like the halyard with the furler, and then the foot broke loose. So we put it back in. Also, it was even too small. Now the wind has calmed down a little bit and we're in the 20s, more or less. And it was actually too small. So the Genoa is actually a lot better. Flo's been putting sails up and down and taking care of the boat, because I have not been feeling so great. Every time I sit up, it's not such a good idea. But luckily, I have a strong companion here.
Yeah, he is very strong.
We're not even a quarter there yet. I hope this is gonna get better. I have bloody cold shivers and pounding headache. So this passage.
The lady is flying. Capo Verde.
Yeah, we're flying to Cabo Verde. Literally. Well, it's been nearly 3 days now, and I think I spent most of the time horizontally because I haven't been feeling very well. Been feeding the fish twice, I think. And it's blowing and blowing. We've had yesterday during the day, it was a little calmer. And then it started again right during the night. The seas got really confused and the winds were up in the 30s and the windman wasn't holding anything, so we had to hand steer for a while. Because it was gusty and wavy, and we're running downwind, so it wasn't a good combination. Flo has been a jam. Careful down there, huh? That stove is nasty. Well, and so apart from not feeling so well, last night I went out. Oh, one more thing. We are accompanied by a beautiful pea smell because this little one here unfortunately had a little mishap in our aft cabin where we usually sleep. And she emptied a couple of liters of pee there. So it reeks of urine. And then last night I went down below to get some sleep and I was feeling a little like I'm a little low on food and everything, so I'm not like really there. So when my alarm went off to come up for my watch, I set up, and in that moment, Flo said it was like the biggest wave that hit us during the entire passage. So I was on my way to lift myself up, and then the cushion, because there's a new inlay cushion that is just sitting on the table, and I hadn't thought about that. That one can just slide off. So me and the cushion just flew off, and we shot across the entire salon, and I hit the stove. I hit the stove full on, full facial, bam, and like my neck didn't do so well either. It was a little I was really scared in the first moment because I was like, my head went like this and I was worried about my neck, but it seems that everything is fine. This has been during the night and a couple of hours have passed and it hurts, but everything seems to be fine. Yeah, this really hurts here.
Somebody was sleeping on the sandwiches.
That's all of him eating. Like I've been eating like 3 slices of bread, I think, during the past 3 days. And now it turns out I probably slept on them as well. Yeah, well, we knew it was going to be windy. It wasn't forecasted that windy. The whisker pole, the halyard for the whisker pole broke. That happened during the night as well, during the second night. Great. And last night, before we went into the night, we didn't reef the main enough. Should have reefed it a little bit more. That's also why we had some issue keeping the boat on course. It was sometimes when I was on the helm, it was doing like 9 to 11 surfing down the waves. It was pretty dodgy. And I think we're nearly halfway through, yay, which means another 3 to 4 days at sea. It might ease up a little bit. There's different, I just checked with Predict Wind, and some forecast models, the PVE says it's gonna even peak up a little bit again. And some others say it's gonna calm down. Waves though are gonna stay the same, around 2.5, 2.8. And it's not such a bad wave height, but they're so short. Right now they're at 7 seconds. They're short and confused. It's not helping. Well, that was my little mid-passage rant to all of you. I'm glad that we're all safe and sound and we're moving nicely. We have a good speed, so that's good. Yeah. Finally, there's a bit of sunshine. It's good for our mood, I think, to have some sunshine. We've had so many waves come over, even though we have the whole bimini up. We've had waves come into the cockpit, over the sides, under the sides, from the back. So the aft cabin is now not only flooded with dog pee, but also lots of salt water. We got one wave coming into the companionway as well, because someone left it open, unfortunately. But no electronics got majorly damaged, so that's good. Yeah, it's still 370 miles to go.
Being out on the open ocean has something almost surreal about it. As soon as you lose sight of land, it becomes strangely difficult to comprehend where you actually are and how far away you are from anything solid. Sometimes I have to mentally zoom out, like pulling back on a chart inside my head, just to grasp how much water surrounds us, how changing our course by just a couple of degrees could mean missing the tiny island we're aiming for entirely. With GPS, navigation has become almost effortless. We always know exactly where we are. And out here, I often find myself thinking about the old seafarers, their bravery,
their knowledge, their willingness to sail into the unknown, toward places no one back home had even dared to imagine. I wonder how they felt, and whether knowing how exposed and vulnerable they truly were made them mentally stronger than we are today, sailing in this bubble of apparent safety that technology gives us. Have you ever thought about that? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Flo has built himself a little spider web back there. Spider pig, spider pig. Well, a little bit of a sail change here for a change. We had, I think, 3 main sail settings on this trip. The first one, the first one we had the Genoa and the main on the same side. And then pretty quickly, Flo set up the trade wind setting with the Genoa on the right-hand side and the little storm jib, with the working jib on the port side. And then we ran that for a while until something broke. The foot got loose, and then I think he set it back up. But then it got a little bit the wind had changed a little bit, so we had to put both sails on the same side again. And then we were running, I think, for a full 4 days, the main and the Genoa both on starboard side, just reefing in and out with the strength of the wind going up and down. And we were pretty much always kind of on course, but we did veer a little bit too far towards land all of the time, which is why now we are flying wing on wing, because we can point downwards a lot easier like that without the sails flopping. And now we're doing 220, 230, and before we were doing 190, 200, more or less. It's pretty amazing how well we could sail this whole passage so far. Santana has been doing really well. Right now, something here in the back broke, which is the fitting of the pipes for the arc in the back. But Flo has fixed those with a bit of rope, so that's all good. The flag line broke, I think. I'm not sure if the halyard for the whisker pole on port side. No, on starboard side. Broke as well. So that's somewhere up in the mast. Apart from that, and some plates and my face, that's all that broke so far. And the pea damage that Boga caused in the aft cabin. But yeah, so far so good.
After 5 days at sea, I finally dared to go below deck and cook something proper. Up until now, I barely managed with white bread and sips of water. My body just didn't want to cooperate. I still feel fragile and quite empty, but the sickness has eased, and for the first time I actually feel a slight appetite. It's impressive how something as simple as warm food can bring you back to yourself. With every bite, a bit of strength returns, and with it, my spirits lift. It was only a few days of seasickness, nothing dramatic, and yet passages have a way of reminding me, out here, I have to deal with what's in front of us. There's no turning back, no pressing pause. The only way forward is through. A quiet reminder not to take offshore sailing lightly. Preparations and taking good care of yourself and each other matters. Because out here, things can turn serious quickly. The wind finally softens and Flo's prepping the circus tent.
When it's finally up in the air, the bright sail is stretching across the pale sky. After days of grey and survival mode, the happy colors lift my mood even more. And then, as if the ocean decided we'd earned a small gift, dolphins. A beautiful, playful end to some tiring days in our wake.
Land ho! We can finally see land after 6 days. We can see a couple of little bumps on the horizon.
We can finally see the Cape Verde Islands on the horizon. And even though I've done quite a few multi-day passages by now, I'm still surprised by this particular feeling at the end of each one of them. Somewhere along the way, there's always a moment where I'm questioning everything, where I fantasize about selling the boat, buying a van, choosing the easy road. But then something changes. And instead of doubt, there's this warm, fuzzy, and excited fire inside me. A feeling of having earned our way here, of having crossed something vast under our own sail, on our own terms. Maybe it's a small adventure in the grand scheme of things, but it's ours. I can't even imagine what it must feel like to circumnavigate the world, let alone non-stop. Those sailors have my deepest respect. And for now, I'm content. We did the best we could, and Santana carried us safely across the open ocean for 6 full days. I'm grateful for Flo prepping her so well for this journey and stepping in when I felt weak. For the salty life that we get to live and those fascinating islands ahead of us that we will soon get to explore.
Looks like on the last miles we got a fish.
Not on board yet.
Not on board yet, and hopefully we're not going to lose Flo or any of us to the ocean with this.
What a treat. The ocean decided to send us a gift on the last miles. A beautiful mahi-mahi. Flo skillfully brought it on board and filleted it right there on his newly built cutting board. Fresh fish, land finally in sight. Now all we need is to find a safe spot to drop the hook for the night.
I think Boga's going like, I don't think you're doing it right. The fish is gonna go into my mouth. It's going the wrong way. We're north of the island now. We're motoring. And there seems to be quite the current pushing us towards the island. So we have to overcorrect quite a bit with the autopilot. We still have to go around the corner. It's another maybe 4 miles, 5 miles. Flo just caught a fish. A mahi-mahi that he's prepping back there. It's gonna be a beautiful dinner for tonight. A nice arrival dinner. If we're not too tired, we might just go into shore and have some snack, whatever there is, instead of cooking a meal. We'll see. Sun is looking dry. Haven't spotted a plant yet. Say thank you, little fishy. Thank you, little fishy.
Thank you, fishy. Thank you, fishy.
Looks like we're nearly there. We can already see the little nook that's in front of the entrance of the bay that we're going to. The wind has freshened up a little bit coming over the island, but the sea state has calmed down a little bit. The bay is probably going to be a little full and tight, and there is a bunch of stuff going on in the entrance. So that's going to be interesting. Right now the wind is picking up to like 17-ish. So it's always fun when the wind is picking up when you're trying to anchor. Hopefully it's going to stay with this and not go up a lot further. There's a bunch of sailboats in here and a bunch of big buoys
or bigger boats. So we're just gonna sneak in here and check it out. Maybe we find a spot all the way in. That would be nice, to be nice and sheltered.
We were surprised how many boats were anchored and tied up to mooring bolts in Palmera. For now, we dropped the hook just outside the main channel and a little beyond the crowded anchorage. And tomorrow we'll check in with the locals to better understand how things are actually working around here. And more about that next time.